here went through the entire draft in game number 2, so I think maybe the opportunity to pick it up here in game number 3 could do really well, especially if you're going to pair it with something like this Varus that Huanfeng looked exceptional on. It gives you the opportunity to have a little bit more of that push-pull where you got the offense and the defensive capabilities.
Yeah, and I wonder what the response is here from RA, because right, you're getting a pretty well, you know, if it doesn't work once, you try it again, and RA are going to pick up the Kalista Leona for the bot lane.
Well, this traditionally isn't a bad lane against the Varus, right? It's just a don't dive level 2 scenario. But I think we're probably going to see the Braum come through here again for on just like, hey, look, let's just play it safe. Let's take this where like Braum stands in front of everything that's tossed the direction of Huanfeng in any of these engages and keeps them safe. And it means that it nullifies a lot of the potential laning phase for RA, and also is phenomenal in a composition that RA are going to be drafting. Like, this is already a pretty aggressive dive, short range orientated comp from RA, so Braum works super well in that scenario. And we saw it work out beautifully for them last game as well. And that's where we were talking about earlier, like just being able to secure the pieces with that Braum and being able to move forward as a team in the fights is huge. And so we have a couple crucial picks left, right? We have potentially these, well, not potentially, I guess, these bot lanes picked up. We have some potential flexibility with that Viego locked in as Sunning, but RA have picked up their jungler already, so we have a lot of individual lane focus for RA, and that has to be sought after for Sunning in these second ban phases, right? We've got the Silas already banned away from Sunning, and RA banned away the Aurelia as well, so still focusing those potential carries. I think you'll probably see another mid lane ban here coming through for Sunning, and I imagine they'll go towards something like the Lee Sin on this next rotation, again keeping open that flexibility for themselves, making sure that they can do it like top, they can put it mid, SofM can take the Viego jungle, and just give yourselves a nice kind of a little setup. But especially when you're looking at a super short range composition, it makes it a little bit easier to like buy space for this Varus in the back line, get a lot of high value dragon rages off, because everyone tends to be clumped up and together on the opposite side.
Gotta look for those pickouts. Nope, no dragon rage today. Does get banned away. I gotta appreciate that one, as you were calling out. Gotta focus the certain picks that are gonna be the tools of the trade for Sunning, and that Lee Sin did look mighty fine last time around. We do still have some big pieces on the board. A lot of meta picks still available, but that's something we've seen gone to the wayside in this series, at least between these two teams, right? We had the Thresh make it all the way through last time. Nobody picked it up. Would have been a huge, I feel like at least a huge pickup in the support role last game, but it's the Akali that was left up and picked up by Sunning.
And this is actually really smart from Sunning, because you can take this mid laner and you're like, right, either SofM gets his hands on Viego, or we can take Gwen and Viego in the same composition and we give that to Bin, because with RA, you either lock in a Jace here and hope for the best, or you're just not going to really have an opportunity. So I think for RA, I'm kind of feeling the Azir. I can understand, hey, look, let's try and have a little bit of range, a bit of that late game scaling, and something that can like reset a lot of these short range dive tools that Sunning have. But we'll have to see here what the last pickup is going to be. I would personally like to see like a Kennen locked in here. I think Kennen taken up into the top lane, flex that Viego into the jungle, and then try and go for this sort of all in, especially like flashing onto an Azir or onto the Kalista, and trying to see if you can dive before the Emperor's Divide comes through and tries to reset the fight. Yeah,
I just think the spacing that RA have on their team fight is really, really good, but it's all about getting to a position that you feel comfortable with that. We saw it didn't happen last game. The Nocturne is the final lock-in for Sunning.
I mean, it does give you more dive tools, right? And we can see SofM and Angel, like, they're kind of the 1-2 punch from Sunning to collaboratively take on the backline. Have been moved in as well with the Heartbreaker eventually. The only issue that I'm really seeing is, again, like, if you end up in a situation where you go in aggressively as SofM, it's very easy for FoFo to try and use this Emperor's Divide to separate the fight. Same when you look towards Hong, who's able to get these solar flares to stop the rest of RA from trying to catch up. So I think it's going to be an interesting back and forth here to see how this goes. It feels like whatever team gets these early leads will just have the advantage of being able to power through what their compositional strengths are.
How much you want to bet we get a level 2 dive here? Somehow, some way, somebody's doing it. No, but in all actuality, you got to think both these teams are going to be taking a more calculated approach to this third game. It's been a little bit crazily one-sided for both games so far, but we already set up this series, right? We already set up the stakes of these teams. A win here means so much in the standings. It just moves you completely through for both of them. So I think there's a lot riding on this series, especially being one of your last games of the summer split, and you've got to be able to perform in a way that looks confident, that looks comfortable as we're getting to those playoffs. But you've got a lot of pieces, you've got a lot of strength, at least for both sides, a lot of comfort for both sides, but Suning get a lot of the pieces they had in game number 2 that looked so good. Now they're on the other side. We'll see what kind of execution comes down from that, but again, it's got to be these junglers. How do they focus? Where do they focus early on? Do we get that resource pool down bot lane again for iBoy, Huanfeng? It all comes down to this, Dagda. It is game number 3, Rare Adam versus Suning, as we take it home.
And you asked, where do we get the jungle attention? If I'm Leyan, I'm doing the calculations in my head. Bot side, we got the push. Mid lane, we definitely got the push. Top lane, I can get us the push. And that means that he can actually look to start having 3 priority lanes, move in, start invading onto SofM, and set this Nocturne behind. Because if Nocturne's behind, what the hell do you do as a Nocturne? Like, your whole gimmick is, I dive in. So if you are already set off kilter, it's just not going to be a fun time for you. So, and this is something that Leyan did incredibly well in their last series when he was playing the Nidalee. He just absolutely demolished his opponent by constantly invading, making sure that he was able to get himself into a position where the opposition couldn't do anything. It was against Ultra Prime, where he's just constantly invading in against Hacker and shutting him down. So I think this is going to be a very similar story here, where Leyan abuses the fact he's got the Xin Zhao and the priority lanes and shuts down SofM's opportunities.
Yeah, can't do much when you're just a paranoia bot as SofM, but that early invade, that early aggression from side of Leyan is going to be something we have to keep an eye on. We do have opposite side starts from both these junglers, though, so maybe not as much of that skirmishing unless we see a wraparound early.
So if we end up in a situation where like both junglers kind of just teeter off, take their own jungles and stuff like that, the mid game when we look over towards Suning is pretty hype, right? They've got Huanfeng, who's going to be looking towards again this lethal tempo, this on-hit Varus. So he's going to be looking for the similar build that we saw the last game, where he picks up that Wit's End after its mythic item and then starts to look towards a Gwynsu's Rage Blade. A lot of like direct target on-hit damage. But when we look towards the later portion of the game for RA, you're starting to get Cube online. You've got a lot of damage that's going to come through from FoFo, especially if he goes the Gnasher's Tooth build that we've seen FoFo go for more traditionally. So I'm kind of looking at like, all right, okay, let's again take this nice and slow. Let's try and bully through our lane assignments that we were already talking about, as you can see for FoFo, and then just delay this game out until we get to that super late game portion.
And the other side of it is, you know, Suning, SofM specifically, wanting to find that level 6, wanting to find the paranoia to make a game-changing moment, to make a fight-changing moment. This is a level 2
dive, isn't it?
I was going to say, it always has to happen some way, somehow. It might not happen this time around. We got close. We got close, Dagda.
Hey, I mean, they think Leyan's backed off, but Hung is still here. So Angel trying to play on the far side of his lane, but there's Hung. Not going to go for
He's not going to go for another tower. I feel like he maybe saw a little bit of what happened last game. Was like, you know, those early Zenith plays maybe not where I want to go. Ooh, yeah, SofM. He does get the Scuttle Crab. iBoy just giving a little bit of pressure down there. Nothing going to come of it too heavily. Cube getting traded on very heavily and top by Ben, who has seemingly taken advantage of that lane.
I feel like now is going to be the time, though, where we get to see Leyan like playing off this bot lane pressure. You can see iBoy spotting out SofM, trying to delay these backs. Leyan now has his first recall off. He's going to be moving back towards his Krugs, and he's going to be able to have this little bit of a tempo advantage on making plays. So shove in bot, shove in mid, start to look for these invades and setting SofM behind. And if you can take 3 quadrants of the map here as RA, you're in a phenomenal spot to set yourself up for the rest of this game.
And a question for you here, Dagda, is, you know, we're obviously waiting for that level 6 mark for SofM to really have his full kit unlocked. And obviously, you want the ultimates across the board, but how early do we see the objectives start going down, at least in the Dragon Pit, right? Because we saw RA were able to scoop up a couple of those early on last game, didn't really pander out too much, but now Leyan is down towards bot, Dragon spawning soon. If they can get a snowball like this, it's exactly how they set it up in game number 1.
Yeah, I think you will actually probably see it after this play, right? Like, this is why Leyan is here.
Exactly.
Hey, look, let's see if we can get the play on as he steps forward.
Hong goes for the flash, then the Zenith Blade. The combo's too sick. On has to flash away. A lot of summoner spells burned, but nothing going to come of it. No first blood just yet.
iBoy actually tanked up a lot of that minion line there, so he's actually taken a pretty big hit, which means I don't think you can just move in here, although FoFo doing a lot of damage mid might give the priority that you need here for RA to turn over towards an objective.
Like, maybe buying just a little bit more time. They're not going to pull the trigger on that one just yet. You do also have SofM down there now, has bought the time to wander down and maybe actually look for it. I was going to wonder if maybe he goes for that dragon, just tries to sneak it out. It does look like he's in that pit, so with Leyan going top, it's going to be an early objective for Suning this time around.
Yet the reset came through from Hong. You can see he's holding on in mid lane, so you're able to get SofM to sneak that one away. Although I actually think that this could actually lend itself in towards Rare Adam having a bit of an advantage, because you've now given this time to SofM, who's investing towards a dragon, and you can look at where Hong placing these wards topside. Ora are starting to set up for these invades that we were talking about, and as you get the TPs back mid, TP back towards top, there's the opportunity for them to try and set up for these plays.
And I just love how Hung has been constantly around the map. You were talking about the warding, but he's just waiting for a moment, an opportunity, but you can't take advantage of those opportunities if you're not around. So he's just making sure that he's there. You're keeping iBoy in the lane. You're continuously returning down here just to make sure the lane state is okay. And now SofM is down here. He's got level 6. Paranoia could be a game changer down here for the advantage of Suning. We still have not gotten first blood. Could be a big pickup, but it looks like we're getting backs from Suning. As, oh no, he stopped it actually.
On wasn't able to connect with the Winter's Bite, and now maybe thinking of it a second time, because this wave is pushing out. Like, iBoy and Hung need to collapse this, or they run the risk of Huanfeng just freezing it, and they get the long lane for this.
How long is SofM
SofM
staying here, though? He's been here for so long. He stopped 2 backs now.
And he'll get spotted as well if this wave starts to crash up. You can see Leyan sitting in the corner, but he's a bit too far from home, so SofM spends a lot of time sitting in this jungle. Still though, he's been clearing very efficiently. You can see he's got the level advantage over Leyan, bit of a gold advantage as well, so not going to hurt him too much. He's just going to move back towards his top side as those camps spawn.
iBoy did start his back up, but decided not to, wants to crash this wave. Instead, Huanfeng did finish his back, so he's going to be heading back out to the map. But we do have junglers heading towards the top side of the map. We've had a little bit of a pretty stable noodle fight in the top lane so far. Wonder if we get any influence there, Dagda.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Leyan try and make a play up here, just because you got 20 seconds, of course, until this Rift Herald spawns, and you imagine both teams are going to try and get some sort of pressure here. Huang already moving up to see if he can at least work with the mid and the jungle, but SofM is the one that's sitting around still for this top side of the map.
It's honestly already looking like a paranoia, but no, just joking a little bit there. But the fact that we've seen twice now, SofM just doesn't feel confident to pull the trigger. He's had level 6, he's had that paranoia, but it's not the right setup. And if you give up that first blood, it's a big snowball opportunity to RA. So you don't want to be the one to make that mistake.
Now, RA trying to collapse on mid now. FoFo with the potential for the swoop and loop.
Oh, he goes in over the wall. A little bit of damage. Crescent Guard comes out to stop some damage from firing back onto Leyan. Now you have Ben roaming down, maybe taking the 1v1 against Q, but can go back to lane. And even though we get almost craziness, nothing's going to come of it just yet. We're raising the tension bar here in game number 3. We got to make sure everybody's on the edge of their seats.
I feel like we're not seeing any of the plays that we were discussing, though, right?
I know.
We haven't seen Leyan get in towards the jungle. He hasn't been stealing away any of these farms. It's actually Suning who, despite the priority that Ora have in mid and bot, they're getting the objectives. Like, honestly, this is like a big win for Suning across the board. Like, despite the goals that was in advantage for Ora because of the mid lane matchup, like, honestly, like, this is big for Suning. A lot of these wins going their way, and Ora aren't playing through any of the strengths that we were talking about.
And Huanfeng just picked up the Rift Herald, by the way. No big deal, right? The ADC with the Rift Herald, huh? Maybe looking towards that bot lane for that one, get some gold for Huanfeng, who had such a good performance on the Varus last time. You just want to make sure that he's set up with that item spike, with the gold spike as well. Both junglers up towards top side. Paranoia goes on to Leyan as he was spotted out by the ward. Does he still go down after it? He's under tower now, but the Heartbreaker comes out. We finally get first blood, and it goes over to Ben.
And just a nice play coming through from Suning, collapsing straight on towards Leyan as he tries to help out Cube in this top side. But this has been just too slow of a game for Leyan. SofM's got to level 6. He's been farming up an absolute storm. He's been doing such a good job of getting himself into these positions so they can try and find advantages. And now, Suning in the driver's seat and the opportunity for Huanfeng to get a bit of gold in his own pocket with the Rift Herald.
And I just wonder how you approach this further on, right? Like, if you can get that first Paranoia, that immediately builds that confidence booster, but as well as gets the snowball going for the Nocturne pick that we set out for. But on the other side, you still have a huge CS differential in mid lane, right? You still have a lot of strength to focus on, but Leyan just can't get active. And now we're going under tower for Cube. He can't find the last needlework. At least the damage isn't there from the last needlework, but he will get Ben pushed out from under his tower and force it back.
Yeah, no TP on Bin either, so just give a bit of a room here for Cube, get his own reset up, hold on towards this TP as well, especially with Dragon coming up in just a few moments, the opportunity to try and turn that into a numbers game for Rare. Awesome. You can already see Leyan, he's moving across with iBoy, and they're starting to finally turn their attention towards these objectives that they've been able to pick up.
Wonder if we just get lucky with another Ocean Soul here tonight. We'll see how it goes, but we do have a Cloud Dragon.
Cloud's out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, Infernal is too, but that's fine. You know, everything's all right in that one. We do get the roam down from FoFo as well as Leyan, but again, it's not set up exactly how they would want to. It's not set up to where they feel confident enough to go for it.
And I don't understand this. Like, we've highlighted without fail like how you can play this as RA, but we're not getting any of it from Leyan. The only thing they could be worried about is a potential Rift Herald play on bot side with Huanfeng, but you have the TP for Cube in the top lane. You can still make these plays happen. Just, I don't know, it feels like RA, their most dominant trait has been lane advantages in towards objective control, and we're not seeing any of that in this game.
Yeah, it's that solid playstyle. It's as Jensen Go said on Twitter, it's simple but effective. But number 2, because RNG is the first simple and effective. But it's crazy. I mean, we set this out when we were talking about the series in general, where it was this chaotic team coming into a more refined playstyle. As we're saying, chaos. Emperor's Divide goes just a little bit wide in mid lane against Angel. The setup was there, all 3 members. You had the roam up from Hung. You also had Leyan, but nothing gonna come of it. But to see this kind of playstyle where now it's just kind of like laying back and waiting, it's very interesting from RA in this 3rd game.
I mean, it's giving space to Suning to do exactly what they want, right? When you're looking at this team, we want SofM to get himself towards his stride breaker, get himself into a position where he's going to be nice and strong so we can go for this double dive combo with Angel. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now.
Ben becomes lightning, starts out the fight, but they just trade positions and Ben goes to his jungler who's on the other side of it.
Yeah, I mean, it might as well be musical chairs with how much actually is in this, so we'll just keep this going as Ben now still threatening though, but we'll just back off. But I want to so we're now hitting a point where we said Suning, they have a stronger mid game, and you're getting these first item completion coming through, like without actually much threat. Is Huanfeng actually going to start moving in towards the mid lane with this Rift Herald, trying to get Angel accelerated towards his item as well, because he's the only one who's really lagging behind due to the matchup. So actually, Angel not going to be able to get any of that, but still, Suning now going to be able to contest towards 3rd Dragon really well. Divine Thunder for Viego, Stridebreaker nearly done. You're going to have that Hextech Proto Belt for this Akali. Like, these item spikes are so crucial for Suning, and RA just don't match them, right? You've got a Verdant Barrier on FoFo, which means he's delaying that spike. And Immortal Shield Bow is great for iBoy, but I see one item Gwen isn't that threatening in these fights.
I know what I want to see next, Dagda, and it is TP plays towards this bottom side of the map. You've got double TPs available for Angel and Ben. I don't know if we'll actually commit to it. That's just what I want to see, but with the just permanence that Suning has had on the map, yes, we haven't gotten a huge gold lead, right, for them. It's right neck and neck the whole time, but it just feels like Suning have a grip on the map.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not even a rush to make these plays, right? Like Cube, I actually think a big mistake teleporting to this top side here, because now you don't have a TP for that dragon in 2.5 minutes. So Bin, oh well, never mind. Bin just TP top as well. So
He's just gonna join in the shenanigans.
Doesn't TP top. He just walks top lane, you know, takes a bit of damage on his turret, and then you've got the numbers advantage for that dragon. But like, hey, you know, what do I know?
Yeah, you're just a wonderful, amazing, big brain color caster. What do you know? You know a lot, Dagda. You know a lot. But
thank you. I appreciate it.
What I don't know is how we have gotten to a point where all these games are going so long without blood. And obviously it lends to the play styles, right? We're getting the similar styles from them, at least, where we set out maybe a little bit different styles from them. But it seems like both teams are kind of playing to the level of each other.
Yeah, I mean, neither of these teams are particularly aggressive in the early stages.
Exactly.
Their first blood participation, atrocious. Jungle proximity, not so hot. You even look at the kills per minute. Nah. Like, there's nothing here that actually is like, oh yeah, we're going to get all this action. And it does lend itself to these kind of games. And again, like, this is feeding in towards Sunin's game plan. Like, not super, super, super late, but they will have now hit these spikes. They've managed to get the objectives in their favor. And honestly, I would not be surprised to see Suning try and contest for this Rift Herald. You have Akali who's going to be able to roam up. Bane has just got that Divine Sunder and potential dive here on towards Cube.
You have the Paranoia available, always able to join. Ben goes for the early damage, pushing out Cube. Rift Herald's already started by RA, but they've been spotted out now, and they're going to have to get out. Cube by himself, though, in the transition of the Rift Herald, and he just gets the trigger pulled on top of him. Ben picks up the kill.
Yeah, and Rift Herald's still here as well. So Sunimi just said, look, they can now fight this. They've hit the point where they're strong. They get the Rift Herald. You put that in mid, and it's a beautiful timing for this dragon that's in 30 seconds. Yes, you invested a lot of that stuff from like SofM, Bin with the Heartbreaker, also on committing that Glacial Fissure. But I don't know if you're going to be able to contest this because, again, Cube, he TP'd back top lane. He cannot get to the dragon in time.
And we're just a couple seconds from a potential soul point for Suning. They've been snowballing these dragons. They're also getting the Rift Heralds back and forth. They've gotten every single neutral objective so far, Dagda.
I don't understand why Rare Adam haven't. Priority mid, priority bot, you make the plays. Hong, though.
Oh, he goes over the wall there, has the flash. Back on the other side, back to safety. But finally, RA will take the priority they gain, and they'll get an objective for themselves.
I mean, at 17 minutes, though, I still don't know why this is the first dragon that RA are getting, right? We talked about iBoy, Hung. They control that bot lane matchup. They've had push this entire time. FoFo has been destroying the mid lane, but Leyan, got Hung.
My God, no. This is how it happens. This is how it goes down. SofM dies to Hung.
And finally, we're actually getting these plays. This is what I wanted just like 10 minutes ago. But still, it's actually getting these leads. It's getting this pressure. Cube will get the bottom lane structure. And now we're starting to see this gold coming back into RA. They're getting control. And Suning, because they didn't get that last dragon, means they're not starting to stack these dragons. There's no real fight that they have to worry about. But you can see here, Cube just not respecting where Suning were. Gets caught out and actually gives across the Rift Herald too soon.
It's really unfortunate because I felt like the rest of the team was on the same page. They all knew what was happening there, but just a little bit maybe of miscommunication. Obviously, we don't know the transition there, but it's really interesting to me to see how this game is played out, right? And of course, this is how it would go, right? Like, we had two very one-sided games. Now, as script would have it, we get a very close, tight-knit game at the same moment where we were seeing the game explode the last two times.
And it now is going to come down to, can Suning use the item spikes that they have, or do Rare Adam find a way to slowly draw this game out and find their own advantages? You're looking at Cosmic Drive. Zhonya's is needed for Cube. FoFo wants to complete this Banshee Veil, work towards a Nashor's Tooth. iBoy's the only one really who's like kind of hit his stride and is like, okay, this is kind of the level that I stay at for this game.
Oh no, Cube. Okay, can't decide if he wants to stay under tower. Does use the hard miss there. There's a lot of time. The Needlework doing some work here as well. A lot of damage on SofM. He flashes over the wall. So does Angel. That's a lot of summoner spells burned by the side of Suning.
Yeah, you can see Leyan was considering going over the wall there, trying to make the play, but thinks twice, doesn't want to try and give those advantages to Sunni, because again, like, Auré's game plan is delay, delay, delay. So if they've shut down the play, that does give them the advantage, and FoFo going to try and get some damage onto this bot tower. No one else in the vicinity, though, means that FoFo can keep himself safe and walk away from the double threat on Sunni's side.
FoFo himself has about a 60 CS lead over Angel, which is huge in its own right. You also have a decent CS lead by Ben over Cube in the top lane, but that mid CS lead is much, much bigger. And something I feel like RA could play around, right? You're looking at this late game potential of the Azir as well, and some playmaking. Maybe the first Emperor's Divide didn't go right, but FoFo is going to be set up later on for big ones.
Okay. Turret down for FoFo. Mid lane turret is the only is still left standing here. It feels like, at least from my point of view, that like the pressure needs to start moving around the map here for Aurea. I want to see iBoy going in towards this mid lane, opening up Hong to start moving around the map. If you can try and create some sort of pressure with the towards this top side, if you can catch Bin, you can take this structure down. The only issue from Aurea's side is that Sunni just have their teleports up sooner, so the ability for Bin to actually be the one that creates pressure, for them to overload one side of the map, is a lot stronger than you can actually see from Rare Adam right now.
You have a couple item spikes coming across here as well. Second item completed for FoFo. He'll be able to get that Banshee's Veil, a little bit of potential safety there, but iBoy and the rest of the company are in mid, wanting to take that mid outer tower if they can press it up, as they might want to send somebody to deal with Angel on the side. Looks like FoFo is going to get that job.
God, like, I feel like I'm just kind of standing here with my stick and is like prodding them. Just like, come on, do something.
Do something, bro. Like, do something.
Whenever I think, hey, look, you know what? This is how we can start to see some action. They can start to make some plays. They end up just not going for it. Like we've kind of discussed at length, Aurea having those priorities could have gone for jungle invades. Could have tried to make these plays towards objectives. We haven't seen it. SofM now, he's the one that's in control with this Tribe Breaker. You've got these TP plays. Let's start looking to try and put some pressure on the side lanes. You can see Bin is on this top side. Angel had pressure bot, could have potentially looked to shove that in, but maybe they're considering here, look, we're going to try and heavily push for this top lane tower and see if we can catch some members of Rare Adam out in rotation.
And I think both teams at this point are getting some yellow cards from the referees, because like there's so much left on the table, so much that both these compositions that we set out for, right? SofM wanted to get involved on this Nocturne. Yes, he has gotten involved, but it's only with 2 assists, and now he's sitting on the Stride Breaker. I would like to see that pushed up a little bit more. I would like to see this Nocturne be a little bit more involved here, but we're just getting this slow, calculated farm style game where you're punishing mistakes, but you're not overextending yourselves, as RA pick up their second dragon.
And I don't really get this from Sunni, right? Like, actually, they do get the tower. I wasn't sure if SofM was backing away before they got the turret, but okay, I take that back. I actually like this from Sunni. I thought they were going to trade the tower for the second dragon, which is great, because again, opening up the map, getting more gold for themselves, and then going to be looking towards, in a little bit of time, we're going to fight, but I think from Sunni's perspective, they're just sort of running out of time here. If they aren't confident enough to take these fights just yet, it feels like FoFo is going to become too big of a threat. Cube is going to be massive. And yes, iBoy will fall off in relation to Huanfeng, but I don't feel like you have enough of a compositional advantage to be like, no, we can play the late game, when you've got so many options to reset the fights with FoFo and Leyan on Rare Adam's side.
And that's the starkest difference for me from that game number 2, is like the reason why they were able to propel that mid game, and especially like find the win so easily for Sunni, is Huanfeng had those early kills. That helps a lot in these kinds of situations where you don't have that influx of gold. This is the kind of game you get.
I mean, and you're getting like 2 kills on towards Bin, right? But we actually haven't seen Bin particularly active outside of that. Now, he's got a nice little CS lead for himself and will have the item advantage working towards Hysteric. So in the grand scheme of things, in top lane versus top lane in these 5v5s, Bin's ahead. I still don't think Bin's going to have as much of an impact as people expect, though, traditionally from a Viego, because of the style that Rare Adam are playing. And looks like Rare Adam now just going to try and group up in this mid lane, try and push the wave, and it looks like, again, they're just going to ping-pong the waves. Who would have thought this, Mazel? Oh my God. Look at that beautiful CSing.
It's quite incredible at this point. Honestly, I'm sitting on my edge of my seat waiting for action to happen, but we're not getting it just yet. We are getting the consistent objective trade-offs, at least for both these teams. We've had a Baron on, but again, with the way that we've played this game, there's no way that either of these teams feel confident to go for that just yet.
This actually reminds me of back in spring 2020 with myself and Hysterics. We ended up... Oh, hang on. Ooh. We get blood.
Ooh. Is this going to be it? The Heartbreaker misses. The Needlework, the Flash. No, it's going to go over, and it's Cube that picks it up.
And that's actually a big win for Rare Adam. We just said, hey, Bin's actually ahead in this matchup. He can try and have a bit more of an impact, but Cube manages to outplay the Heartbreaker, dodging away from it. And with Leyan there to support, Bin finds himself in the dirt. Now Cube starting to push in. Maybe Rare Adam start to open up the map a little bit, get some vision deep in this jungle, especially for the dragon that's going to be up in 2 minutes.
You have 3 members of RA in the mid as we go to this replay. A little 1v1 that turns into a 2v1.
Yeah, I mean, even here, like, I think Cube just has this. Like, dodging away from the Heartbreaker, Bin not quite connecting with it, just about gives enough damage. And now, bot side.
Looks like Leyan went in for the fight. Now Angel's in some trouble here. Has the hard miss for Cube, but there's the Glacial Fisher, and Cube just going to be taken out. A little bit of a trade back after they had just taken out Bin. He will fall as well.
I mean, look, you got to go tit for tat here. The whole game has been slow. It's been about trading. You cannot kill Bin and then not expect Cube to give his life over. It's just not fair. That's not the treaty that was set out before this game began.
Hey, all right, we've already broken the treaty. There's 1,000 gold lead in favor of Suning, all right? We were like 200 apiece. Right. Now it's just broken open. Oh, my goodness. Okay. This is why it all went down. We finally get to see it. The TP behind and just the setup from Suning on this play.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I'm going to say now is that, like, you do have that teleport down. And, like, I've kind of been saying I want to see this more 1-3-1 orientated style come out. Simply because, like, FoFo doesn't do as hot in the side lane as someone like Angel. Not in that he, like, can't clear the waves. But if you try and look for these dives with, like, Viego coming in, with the Nocturne coming in, it's really difficult for Azir to try and hold that side lane. So you can try and play that nice style. Also, double assassins, like, so much damage can come through incredibly quickly. But we're still not going to get that just for the moment. FoFo not opting towards the Nashor's Tooth either. He's going for the Void Staff. He's going very heavily on the damage that comes from his Q, the damage that comes from his ult, and not so much trying to rely on the auto attack basis that we usually see Azir.
Gotta see what those Emperor's Divides can do. We have a dragon on the board in 30 seconds, Dagda. RA wanting to make it 3 Ocean Dragons in a row to get Soul Point, but Suning, not having gotten a dragon for a couple rounds this time, need to go ahead and try and force this, right? We've talked about the ticking time bomb that is RA, and that Suning need to get active. They need to get this Nocturne going. They need to get the rest of the team on the same page, but it can't happen here as RA are just fluidly moving around the map.
It's rare that we have a game of the LPL where there's nearly as many dragons as kills, but we are looking at RA now starting up the dragon. This could be the moment. Never mind, it's dead.
Nope, it's gone. Paranoia's already out. Glacial Fisher is used, but Suning are the ones that back away after it. Soul Point secured by RA.
I'm going to get a second stick, Mazel. I'm going to get double poking going.
Yeah,
see if
I can help you there. I'll help you. Yeah. We could just, we'll figure it out. We'll get all the other guys in. I don't know. At this point, it's funny to me, though, because, like, these kinds of games are interesting in their own right, where we're so used to the LPL craziness. We're so used to the bloodbaths that we get consistently in this league. And to see games like this, it makes you pause for a second and kind of appreciate those bloody games, but as well think of the differences in this game and how the teams are approaching it. I think that just gets so fun when you start to think about those interactions.
And it does mean now, though, Rare Adam are on 3 dragons. 3 Ocean Dragons as well. That's so much regen that's going to be coming in from these guys. It makes it nigh impossible to try and push them out of any of these lanes. And as well, when we start to look towards these fights, that regen can play a pretty big influence too. So especially as we start to look towards, you know, dragon number 4 potentially for Rare Adam, that could play a pretty big factor. Also, it gives the opportunity for Rare Adam to play a little bit more greedily towards this Baron, because you've got the opportunity to kind of start an up regen off the Ocean Dragon, and especially when you've got an Azir and a Kalista, you do so much damage to this Baron. Yeah,
you really do, and you see Suning want to make sure they don't sneak that one away. Early movement by RA is around that Baron pit, though. You have SofM going for a bit of an invade here. Pressure on bot lane from Bin. But the next move is on RA's side here. Do they respond? How do they respond? And it looks like it's going to be Cube going to the side lane for now. And the 1-3-1 will continue on.
This is very... I knew today was going to be slow. I felt like... I didn't realize, though, that we're getting all of the action in game 1 and 2.
Yeah,
and then just nothing for game number 3.
Isn't this so fitting, though? Like, that's just how it works. That's how teams work. That's how the mental works, I guess.
All right, RA once again playing over towards this bar. And again, they can take this so incredibly fast, but they do have to be careful of just getting flanked. Also, just the ability for SofM and Angel to find these better flank opportunities because of where your position in the pit gets nice and easy. FoFo going aggressive, but like there's just nothing hitting. They're just not doing it.
Hey, okay, Ben got red buff. All right, that's a big deal.
That is true.
Ben stole the red buff. That's like the most action we've gotten now. We've gotten 5 kills. We do have the same amount of dragons. I swear, Dagda, if we get more dragons and we get kills at any point in this game, I'm going to be a little upset, but that's fine. I'll get over that.
I mean, look, they had to just, your last cast of regular split.
Of course.
They just wanted to bring you in the best LPL way possible, Our first cast together, we went the distance. I understand, They were like, look, this is the first time we get the Mazel and Dagda duo, the Dazzle duo.
The Dazzle duo.
And we're sitting here, they're like, we don't want this to end. We don't want to separate these two guys. They're in matching colors today. Yeah. They're both wearing the navy blue. Like, we need to extend this series on. We need to keep today going. So these two will forever be together and never be separated.
This is where we start the LPL 24/7 network. It's just Dazzle all the time. Us dressed up as Tarek, and that's it.
I mean, I'll let you strike the poses. I don't think I can pull them off as well,
Oh, goodness. But as we do speak about it, we do have about 1 minute and 15 seconds for another dragon. Still, that Baron on the board. So this is a predicament where I wonder, how do we see this dragon play out? Do we see one of these classic baits where, yeah, you can get the dragon, but we get the Baron with all the speed that RA have to take that Baron down? You got to expect that's in the cards somewhere.
It wouldn't be a bad shout. I actually think that could be something RA go for. The biggest problem for them is just they don't have control of the top lane because the last remaining outer tower as Leyan. Aggressive onto Bin. I don't know if he wanted that trade, though.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily. Gonna eat the honey fruit afterwards, but both teams obviously showing that a lot rides on this dragon, right? This is an ocean soul for RA. This is how they get back in the game. This is 4 dragons in a row after losing every single neutral objective up to that point. And if they can do this, it would be a huge resurgence for them. But they're getting caught in the middle ground here because you do also have Angel pushing the side lane, having TP available for him. So how do RA push this? Do they force the fight? It's such a crazy predicament to be in, but it actually looks like Angel's going to be pausing in the lane and waiting for that TP needed to come down. Dragon is spawning now. RA are in front of the pit, but Angel is in the base. We need to keep an eye on the minimap. The TP is now coming down. That's a flank from the Akali. Is this the setup for Suning, or does Angel just get caught out by himself? RA beautifully handle the flank. They know that there's somebody behind him, but there's the paranoia. Doesn't matter if you knew, because FoFo's got a beautiful Emperor's Divide, and RA are sticking together like glue and not separating, not getting pulled apart, but Angel's making a damn good try here, as SofM and Angel, the only ones left. Their health bar is not necessarily the highest, and Cube, the real damage dealer here in this fight, can find an advantage for RA. We finally get blood on the rift, and it might not be stopping. Oh my god, the Zenith play was so close.
And it only gets the goal closer. After the fight's done, the goal is even closer than it was before. But now Angel tries to start with the dragon. He will be spotted on that ward, though. Rare Adam aware that this is going down. They still have SofM. They still have a jungler. And Rare Adam, it looks like they're not going to be able to fight. They're going to give this one up.
Yeah, Hung was here, but he backed off. Now it's about 3,500 health. Hung going for the Hex Flash over. Cube is in the fight. They have taken this, and Cube looking to get the major outplays here. They're committing a TP, and RA has sprung the trap, and it's taken Suning, as now you have On joining, but it's not going to be much. What can a Braum do as Dragon number 4 goes over to RA?
And that could be the one and done Mazel. That could be the fight, the moment that breaks this open. Ocean Soul now for Rare Adam makes it so much more difficult for Sunni to find these executions, to find the moments to make their composition work. And now Rare Adam are turning over towards the Baron. SofM still dead.
There is nothing you can really do without a jungler in this moment. You can just try to get into the pit, try to get damage down, but it's already down as the Baron circles around 2,500 health here. There's a lot of poke, but you gotta expect the smite will do it. Baron secured, and RA matching their colors.
A slow and steady take on the Baron, but we'll see it here. This is the disengage that I was talking about. Big Emperor's Divide from FoFo. Sets up perfectly. And even though FoFo dies for it, it's a worthy sacrifice. He's done his job. He's opened up for Cube here on the Gwen to actually finish carrying this fight. And that's all that he needs to do. And so well played by FoFo.
This makes me think of that first series we had earlier today where you just have so much absorption in your toolkits across the board, right? You have the Crescent Guard, you have the Hard Mist, you have so much that can absorb that initial intake of damage from Suning that it works out beautifully there. And yes, Suning are almost able to pull it from the brink. Angel on this Akali is insane. He's got 3 kills, right? But is it enough for that 3 items pack? You see RA able to execute beautifully.
And now, again, we opt in towards this invade coming through from Rare Adam. They want to see if they can make a pick on. Is just about to find Leyan, but will eventually back away. Bin, 1v1 against Cube.
He's not going to be 1v1 for long. Paranoia comes out immediately. The stopwatch is going to be used, or the Zanya's rather. Cube's still making something happen here. Still making something happen here as Cube gets one of the kills and makes it completely worth it as they're going to chase down the second. Cube, you're a monster.
Viego just can't match it. Nocturne just can't match it. Gwen is here to stay, and she is taken over in the 1v2. Bin is running for the hills as the rest of RA are looking to crack open the base.
They can get an inhib here, and Leyan is still just chasing down Bin. The base is going down, and they're missing a member. What can they do? Does RA push up here? They have so much strength with this squad. They're looking for the Nexus Towers, but Angel goes in. The Emperor's Divide gonna go wide as well. Cube under towers, just taking the tower down by himself. Now he's gonna go down too, as this is going to be a cleanup by RA. They're on to the last Nexus Tower here, and they have so much sustained damage. They have so much to deal with that Suning just can't handle it. They've got Baron for 40 more seconds, and this could just be the end, Dagda. As Paranoia comes out, they can't see a thing, but they can see the Nexus Towers, and Suning are routed, and RA will move themselves up the standings. Damn, what a series to close us out. RA take the game.
It was long. It was drawn out. It was calculated by RA every step of the way, but they managed to find the late game team fights, managing to find the scaling, and they may not have been able to see the end in those final moments, may not been able to see each other, but they could see the victory in their sights, and they close out the series.
What a series indeed. My goodness, the epitome of what this chaos could have brought us. One-sided to start us off the first 2 games. RA in game number 1 getting huge kills onto iBoy. No, they don't play bot lane is what iBoy said. Well, they played through game number 1. Game number 2. Oh, neither side plays through bot lane. Oh, well, we'll tell that to Huanfeng as he pops off in game 2. And then the just randomness, I feel like, I guess not randomness of that third game where it's just calm, it's quiet, there's no blood, and then it just explodes just like the other games.
And Rare asked them keep their dreams alive of hitting that top 4 spot. They're now going to sit with 10 wins for themselves. And when you look at a lot of those other teams like WE that are sitting up there, they still have to play RNG, top esports, really, really tough competition. There's always the opportunity for them to start leapfrogging ahead.
Look at that gold graph. If that's not the game 3 gold graph that we needed, I don't know what else could be, because holy cow, just to see the back and forth nature of it, how close it was the entire time, and then that explosion you see at the end. FoFo with the most damage done in just about, except for Cube, who had those crazy 1v1s, who had those crazy fights, that both these players are just standouts for me in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it was one, like the late game scaling just coming through so magnificently on both FoFo and Cube. Now, iBoy, you can look at his pit and sandwich and say, look, we kind of expected this. There was no action for the entire time that iBoy was relevant, but we finally get to the end of this. Cube and FoFo look magnificent. They can carry this game across the finish line. God, that was a slow burn, but what a cracker of an ending.
We had so many dragons. We had 4 dragons in a row for RA, which honestly is the craziest part for me because there were moments where they could have taken early drag. We said that over and over again in the cast. There were moments to be capitalized by both teams, but to capitalize in moments that matter, to close it out like that, and to know that after the Baron buff, after the Ocean Soul, you can just press mid, get picks, use your strength, and continue to press down. Like, that's just insane to me.
Yeah, and we're going to bring up our MVP for this game, Cube on the Gwen. I think after that 1v2,
oh my God,
no one's really surprised, but yeah, the Cube looking really, really good on this Gwen, right the way up to the ending, finishing off that Cosmic Drive and just being able to power through. And Sunny tried everything. They tried desperately to finish him off, but there was just nothing you can do. The outplay against Bin here in the 1v1 where Leyan came in just at the end as well, and as well in these team fights, carrying this last fight against the Dragon when both iBoy and FoFo were just gone.
Yeah, like the Emperor's Divide is huge there, but as well as the Crescent Guard and the Hard Miss right underneath everything just blocked so much of that damage coming through. That's the moment that Suning went forward with it. That's when they were using everything they had. And then this, the pressure put on by a Gwen here with the help of Hung, and just being able to utilize the strength when it mattered, right? Like this was such a close game for the entirety of the time, but you hit those item spikes, you know when you're strong, and you capitalize. And look at that beautiful masterpiece at the end.
Yeah, really, really well played. And look, I'm excited now to see as Rare Adam if they can get in towards that top 4 spot, because it really does feel like the dream is still alive. And when they've, I think they've already got, who was it left to play? IG left to play, who have kind of been imploding at the moment. I think it's going to be a pretty nice time for them if they are able to pick up that win, setting themselves onto 11 wins. It makes it so very likely that they are top 4, top 5, which would be a magnificent achievement for not only this iteration of the roster, but for the organization as a whole.
That's what I was going to say, is like being able to jump up that much in one split, right? See the development, and the fact that they're doing it in a different way is what's so impressive to me. We harped on it so much today about, you know, chaos into control, finding that smooth way of playing the game, and it works out